Hello, class. I would like to introduce you to our first project titled Your Bag is a Container. You can see a student image here where a student folded their bag into paper hats that she used to make with her grandfather and then placed a little feather here where to symbolize her memories of her father. Typically, our projects will have two components, the formal requirements and a conceptual departure. Strong artwork usually has a good balance between form and content. So that's how the artwork looks with what the artwork means or communicates. In this project, we'll be using graphite, our 2H, 2B, and 6B pencils, plus probably your eraser and pencil sharpeners. We're going to be using our 14 by 17 inch Canson mixed media paper, and the method we are going to use is contour line and the rule of thirds composition. The conceptual component is to locate a bag at home. It could be any bag, brown bag, canvas bag, duffel bag, and then choose a few to several objects put inside or around the bag that together tell a story about you. Make sure we can see those objects so you can draw them. But these objects could be literal, symbolic, humorous, abstract, but be strategic and make sure it's something you can draw. This project sort of builds off the first drawing prompt that we did in the Getting Started section. So think of this project as telling a story about you, or by manipulating your bag and using objects to tell that story about who or what you want to become. Maybe you like to cook, so your bag is a cornucopia of groceries. Maybe you are kind and want to put some strawberries in there. Or maybe you feel a little spicy, so you want to include hot peppers. Do you have a collection of objects? Maybe you just like to go to the gym a lot. Or maybe you're a surfer and you want to have your surf equipment nearby. Or maybe you want to do something humorous or more symbolic, like rusty nails, or maybe you put googly eyes on your bag and turn it into a character. You can also manipulate your bag in a way. If it's a paper bag, maybe it gets crumbled up or it's torn up, or yeah, you folded it into some boats and now it's setting sail. But how can this bag and its contents serve as a metaphor and tell a story? Once you've determined your bag and your object, set your bag up as a still life with a good light source, so either by a window or next to a lamp. And then here are several things to consider along the way to make sure you are creating a good story and really enhancing the content. So now, if you continue to scroll down, there are really detailed guided instructions for you. First, you're going to brainstorm. That is come up with 3 sketches in little thumbnail windows, so 3 by 4 or 4 by 3. This will help you map out your composition the way it will look on your larger piece of paper later. Make sure that you choose a vertical or horizontal composition, and then make sure these are 3 different ideas. It's not 3 versions of the same idea. It's 3 different concepts altogether. So maybe one concept is some of your grocery items. Maybe the other concept is your gym clothing. Maybe the other concept is you manipulating the bag in some way, or to communicate and tell a story. So make sure those are 3 different ones. And then when you submit this with your exercises, because you're going to submit these with your project exercises due at the end of the week so I can look at them and give you some feedback, I want you to select which one you think is the best and which one you want to move forward with. And then you're going to create your still life. You're going to work generally and sketch your composition just like we did in the exercises, so that way you can arrange your entire composition before starting the details. Remember, working general to specific. And then once your composition and proportions are finalized, start getting specific and refine that drawing by clarifying your lines, varying your line weight to create volume, and adding all those details that will really make your drawing stand out. And then keep refining until you feel like it's done. Once you've completed your drawing, write a one-paragraph artist statement that explains the content or meaning of your drawing. Why did you choose these objects? What do they mean or symbolize? Then write a one-paragraph self-assessment that evaluates how you think you met or how you did on the project. How did you compose your drawing? Did you use line to describe your objects and create volume? Where did you do well? Where did you struggle? Where can you improve? And if you could do something over again, what would it be? What would you do if you had more time? And then this is just some sort of things to consider along the way as you're evaluating your progress on your project. And then down here I have the instructions for how to submit your project to the critique discussion and project submission. So first you just scroll all the way down and click the reply button. It's just all the way down here. You'll insert an overview image that's cropped by using the insert image button. You'll attach your project portfolio, and then you will discuss with your peers by responding to at least 2 of your peers. You'll get bonus points if you respond to more than 2 peers, 1 bonus point per response with a max of 3. Extra engagement will also reflect in your participation grade. And then here I have some just things to think about when you're critiquing. So read through those. Here are the details of what you want to include in your project portfolio, just so you know all of the details to include in that. A title page, page 1, with your concept statement and self-assessment and brainstorming sketches. Page 2, the overall cropped photograph of the work that shows the entire project as large as possible. Make sure there's no carpet or tablecloths in the background. Make sure that they are a good quality documentation, because 10% of your grade is part of the documentation. And then 1 overall shot of the ruler of your work next to the ruler so I can confirm your dimensions. Then 1 or 2 close-up detail photos of the strongest areas of your drawing so I can really see the detail. The only way I can evaluate your work in this class is digitally, so I want to make sure I have everything there to give you the most benefit of the doubt. Now, typically I'll show some student examples as well, so you have some ideas or just see what some other students did. So this student here put their work inside of like a bouquet, turned their bag into sort of a bouquet, and then added important items inside of it. Really notice the line weight variation in here, the line value variation, right? There's a lot of light lines, a lot of dark lines, a lot of thick lines, a lot of thin lines, and then a lot of detail that really communicates what we're looking at. So it's really, these drawings are really made by the type of detail and then attention to the line weight that you produce. This student here put some lavender in their bag and then put it up against a corner and made sure to draw the floor it was on and the cast shadow, and just really nice job with line weight variation and line weight value, and then a lot of great detail here in the lavender. This student has a nice composition, some good line weight variation, but it could use a little bit more detail to really spice it up, I think, a little bit more. But still a pretty good job. It uses the full picture plane in a nice way. There's a good sense of space and dimensions here and proportions. But, maybe a little bit more randomness here in the spill to communicate the spill. This student really, they drank a lot of soda and then they felt that they were always like kind of messing up a little bit, right? So that's where the spill came along. Maybe we could even add some detail on the the cans here to communicate to us that it's actually soda and not some other beverage. This student here really liked sunglasses and really wanted to have show off all of their sunglass collection. And I think they did a pretty good job here with the line weight variation. The composition uses the rule of thirds. One thing I think that it would benefit is if they just put a line in the background somewhere here just to tell us that this is on a table, or create some kind of environment where this still life is setting. Same with this student. You know, a little line in the background or something in the background would really have enhanced this student's work. But overall, they did a great job showing that this bag is constricted by this bow. So we create a little bit of tension here based on the decorative bow, but then the fact that it's actually doing damage to the bag itself. So I think this student was sort of exploring some identity in her own life, and who she thought she was and who she wanted to become, and ultimately became, create a really nice expressive piece here with dynamic line weight variation, thick lines, thin lines, beautiful transitions in between the two. Really communicates the bag really nicely. So if you're wondering how to draw creases in your bag or folds, this is a good example to look at. This student just got really creative and really liked to draw landscapes. So put their bag, shrunk it down and put it inside a big landscape so it almost looks like the size of a mountain. So yeah, that's the introduction and some student examples. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me via Canvas or on my email. All right, everybody, good luck with your project. I really look forward to seeing the results.